Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, if it's not the free-for-all Friday, thank you, everybody. I know I'm late. I know. I feel like I've been in a John Wick movie every day of the week. Only instead of me kicking everyone's ass and looking good, it's been me looking like I got my ass kicked by everybody I encountered. Good golly. Welcome back to the Free-for-All Friday. We do it once a week with you guys, but only on subscribestar.com and thepreparedmind.club. I almost said thepreparedmind.club.com. That's how I am. But folks, there's also been stuff in the news. I took a couple of breaks today, put together some thoughts. Oh, it's Free for All Friday. It means you guys get to join in the conversation down below. If you're a premium member at the club or at Subscribestar, it is Friday. That means we're going to talk about whatever happened this week, kind of a synopsis, if you will, right? We're going to summarize and we're going to compartmentalize and talk about things. But get your thoughts in. On Free for All Friday, I don't do the 30-minute monologue. I talk about a subject and hand it over to you. We go back and forth, kind of shotgunning it all. So let us do this. I want to start. I'm gonna pick the first topic because when I saw it, I really lost my shit. Like I said, I've already had it this week, right? And I kind of laughed at all of the weirdos on the left. I'm going to call them weirdos. You know, the fruit salad people. Those freaks, right? Elon Musk kind of stopped him and goes, hey, you can't say cis or cisgendered anymore. That's harassment. Thankfully, I'm allowed to have humor, satire. Anyways, I'm going to go after him a little bit here. We're going to talk about him, right? The first openly transgender state legislator in New Hampshire was arrested for distributing child sexual abuse images. What does this have to do with SHCF? Everything, folks, right? At a time of World War breaking out, the monetary reset of world reserve currency is happening. The invasion of the West by third world trash at the United Nations demands, right? We have to put up with the worship by media, the worship by DC, the worship of Hollywood and the entertainment industry of these totally degenerate freaks of the left, right? I'm disgusted by these people, folks. I'm disgusted by them. Again, child sexual abuse images. It's not just abuse, it's sexual abuse. And it's not just sexual abuse, it's child abuse. It's child sex. That's what this guy, the first openly transgender person. Oh, we can't put everyone in the box together. Oh, really? Really? I can't? Really? If you even like Trump, you're put in that box, in that boxcar, on that train, going to that concentration camp to get your mind right. But don't you dare lump all these fruit salad eaters together, right? Can't do that. Folks, I'm disgusted by these people. This one set me off because it's not the first, and it certainly won't be the last. It's not just trannies. It's not just, folks, it's not just the gays. It's not just the trannies. It's not just drag queens. It's not just any one group. It's all of them. It's not just people who have gender dysphoria. It's not just people who have, species dysphoria. I'm a cat, right? I'm disgusted by these people who have been called brave and heroic for coming out of the closet and challenging our morality and our culture and our traditions and our history and our law and our morality. They challenge all of it, and they're heroic for doing so. It used to be called criminal for doing so. It used to be you're a social outcast if you want to live in that strange, bizarre world. You would get locked up in a freaking mental institution, right? Since when does revealing degeneracy not indicate mental illness, right? On top of their massive mental illnesses, right? Just to come out and admit right? How many people, folks, do you think 40 years ago, how many people do you think 40 years ago said, I'm a cat? And they didn't dare tell a soul. They're like, I ain't saying shit to no one. They'll lock my fucking ass up, right? You got to be stupid to admit that to anyone else. That's right. You've got it right. Revealing your degeneracy indicates a mental illness on top of the mental illness you already have. Your willingness to tell everyone indicates that you've got a problem about telling everyone about your fucking problem. So these people, folks, as far as I'm concerned, they're mentally ill. They're deranged and criminal and perverse to an alarming degree. And they show zero sign of humility or decency. They don't show any indication that they're sorry, that it's wrong. Right? That's how bad they are. Why? From preying on the innocence of children and the tolerance of a spoiled general population. That's right. We must be tolerant. We have to give it. Look how good you've got it, America. You better be tolerant of these weirdos, right? But preying on the innocence of children and our tolerance. The filthy fruit salad peeps, they've revealed exactly who they are now, hiding behind this thinly veiled lie cast upon us like a spell, cast upon everyone by these soothsayers in media and entertainment and politics and corporate social engineers, folks, hell-bent on experimenting on the minds of us as unsuspecting do-gooders, but not you and me who are paying attention to what this shit is, right? And the preying on and victimization of children who are gaslighted daily by teachers and drag queens and all these perverts who are grooming them, right? It's the most egregious of all to me. Kids should have parents. They should have authority figures protecting them from these predatory fruitcakes. Instead, the authorities now in children's lives are the groomers and enablers, exposing children, literally exposing them, right, to the physical freaks as well as these most perverted ideas about sex, basic human relationships, and life, right? And damn them all to hell, in the words of Charlton Heston's character from Planet of the Apes, right? When he realized that humanity destroyed itself through its ignorance, its arrogance, its pride, whatever caused it, right? But damn these people to hell for what they're doing, right? The guy at the beginning of this article, the guy talked about the freak of a pervert. He's not rare. He's not alone. He's not an exception to the rule. But he appears to be the norm as story after story and arrest after arrest and murder after murder shows that these people have no limit to their sickness and their destruction. And it's indicative to me of the sickness that affects everything, every facet of our lives overall, which points to the SHTF crap that we're in. Anyways, glad to have gotten that off my fucking chest. It's just been weighing me down, right? Now, I guess maybe I'll stop talking about kangaroos, because, yeah, that's what I've been talking about, kangaroos. No, you know who the hell I'm talking about. You guys know. We all know exactly who the fuck we're talking about. Okay. Let's do this. If we've got some, I don't know what you guys, I don't know where you're at. Do we have some questions, or do I want to continue with my fucking rant? Because, man, I tell you, there's a lot of things I could rant about, but that was the one that really set me off. Okay, I'm there with you, Ooman. We got Ooman, we got Jolene, we got the Prepared Mother, we got Oliver, we got it all right here, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Mind channel, folks. Oh, it's bad. It has hit the fan. What do you want to talk about? Let's see. Up number one, we got Orlando. And Orlando, you've done a great job. Everyone who contributes does a great job. Anyone who shares the information, spreads the word about freedom, liberty, and also about the great risks we all face as we are forced like a submarine collapsing under the pressure of the ocean. We're being forced into a tighter, less comfortable, more dangerous scenario that's going to be harder and harder to escape from as we go down. How does that sound, right? So Orlando says those rumors and video of military moving and flying through the cities and shit. I'm wondering if this is some kind of unannounced 2.0 version of Operation Jade Helm. Remember when they first announced Jade Helm, people were getting ready and watching, and they had to go on TV and tell everyone that it's not martial law. But what if they were trying something and they decided to try again, but not announce it so they could get as many people unprepared as possible? Very interesting. Is that it for the parts? If so, go ahead and take that off. All right. So we had help. Thank you very much, Jolena Newman. So we had this thing where the Ospreys were landing in populated areas, helicopters, tanks rolling down civilian streets. There have been a lot of times past, folks, where the military and militarized police units were training in urban areas. I remember several years ago, there was a helicopter with a fully automatic machine gun firing out the side, was streaking through some city in Florida. I think it was Miami. I could be mistaken. Someone help me out if I'm wrong there. But the point is that they've done this in the past, including the Jade Helm 15, right? That really scared people, pissed them off a lot. You know, got them to wake up and go, hey, you can't do that. Not in America, Jack. And they're like, no, it's not martial law. It's training. And we really do this all the time. Yeah, do you trust General Milley or Lloyd the Loser Austin, Secretary of Defense? Do you trust them to tell you the truth about what they're doing? But, could it be training? It could be just that, just training. But they want people, not prepared for it, but rather off guard to see what the reaction is. Basically, another beta test to see how we're going to react to the military interacting with the public. So I had a couple of thoughts when this concept was passed by me earlier today. And perhaps they are training. Perhaps they don't want to give anyone notice. Perhaps they want to see what the reaction is in certain areas. And a couple of the things that came to mind were, are they training for a quick hot LZ landing zone, right? Quick landing, bam, touch and go, drop troops in the event that they need to, how do we put this? Offer resistance to a terrorist insurgency that develops in the country. And so they need to start landing and practicing and dealing with civilians. You see, when you land in Afghanistan or Iraq or Sudan or Lebanon, Syria, there's not a lot of telephone poles and trees and shit. It's fucking deserts, right? But in America, we've got street signs, street lights, a lot of radio towers, power lines, high voltage or rather transmission cords. There's a lot of shit to avoid in America. Got all kinds of crap everywhere, right? In cities, they're so overdeveloped that there's nowhere to really land. I mean, you got Walmart parking lots and maybe some parks and shit like that. They got to practice this stuff. You know, perhaps, though, it's not for a counter strike against a terrorist organization that's gathered together. Perhaps, maybe it's about doing a quick, hot, touch and go deployment to deal with patriot groups that have formed and have said enough of this shit. And we're going to take City Hall, we're going to take the courtroom, whatever. I guess they could have done this during the Summer of Love to disperse the rioters. Can you imagine what these left-wing fruitcake lunatics would have done if an Osprey came down? Osprey, folks, is a giant airplane with huge freaking propellers that are like helicopter blades in size. So it's an odd-looking plane to keep those blades off the ground, but it can tilt the wings, right, and aim the standard turboprop engine straight down and lift off vertically, and then tilt the wings back as it moves forward and picks up speed and fly like a traditional airplane. Imagine what would have happened if those idiots on the ground, right, had seen that. They'd shit their pants and run like hell. The Marines are coming to get us. Right, airborne's going to kill us. That would have been something to put in their little heads. Anyways, it's a great topic. What was that all about? I kept wondering if they weren't CGI. I kept wondering because government didn't say anything. It wasn't released. I was wondering if it was old footage from something else, right? Some other issue. But there were reports allegedly coming from around the country, and I tend to discount stuff. I tend to discount it when the source is unknown and it's not confirmed, and it just seemed unreliable. But let's just take it for what it is. Right? We've got a military that's being commanded by some of the biggest freaks and idiots on the planet. Right? And to give you an example, well, not the military, but how about our Department of Justice? It's come up time and time again. Well, not just this week and not just this month, not just the Biden administration, but the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office and the FBI have all been crap going back through Trump's administration. So all of these accusations are coming out. The FBI has ignored Hunter Biden. The Department of Justice has ignored Hunter Biden. The IRS pointed out all the crimes he's committed, and the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, Merrick the Dick Garland, Merrick Butt Breath Garland, Garlic Marand, that guy, that under him and under his thing, that the Justice Department, which includes all law enforcement operations, has been weaponized and politicized. So today, Merrick Garland has come out and he has denied the allegations made by whistleblowers. Who is Merrick Garland to refute a whistleblower's testimony? Is Merrick Garland in every room, in every building, in every bureaucracy around all of Washington, D.C. and around the country, so that he knows that nothing wrong is happening and that any whistleblowers that come forward are obviously lying? Of course not. That's fucking ridiculous. Yet he did it. He came out and denied these allegations that, well, his Department of Justice, Biden's Department of Justice, the FBI, interfered in the Hunter Biden criminal investigation. How would Merrick Garland know? Did you expect him? I certainly didn't. I did not expect him to admit it. I expect full deniability from the Attorney General. You have to believe him because he's the Attorney General. Well, that doesn't carry any weight or water with me anymore, especially since Merrick Garland's son, I think, owns a publishing house that produces this LGBTQIA plus perverted propaganda and educational material that goes out to schools. We really need to trust this guy? I don't think so. And Hunter Biden has been caught committing crime after crime after crime after crime, and he's charged with and cops a plea and gets misdemeanor slap on the wrist, and they completely ignore the fact that he has committed such egregious crimes that he shouldn't be given some deal. Why does he get a deal? Is it like there was going to be an issue or question of his guilt with all of the evidence on his own laptop that he gave away, of the gun incident, of the mere or the sheer nature of Joe Biden's own admission that he used a form of extortion and bribery to get an investigation against Hunter Biden in a foreign country for his crimes dropped by withholding United States government money that was supposed to be released to them, but not until, right? They let go of the investigation against Hunter. So Hunter's in another country. He's in another country doing business, committing crimes. Bad enough in the most corrupt country in the world, folks, Ukraine. The most corrupt country in the world, Ukraine. He is doing such egregious bad shit that even the most corrupt country in the world goes, we got to investigate this and do something about it. I'd like to ask the question, what are we not being told? What don't we know about yet? Whistleblower allegations. How many people know about crimes like sex trafficking, child sex trafficking, child pornography? How many crimes has Hunter Biden committed that would fall along the lines of extortion, treason, bribery? And I have zero proof or evidence, folks, but if a murder had been committed, do you think you and I would hear about it? Someone would know about it, and they're being silent for the time being. But what if that came out? Don't worry about it. Merrick Garland will take care of it. Doubt me that shit has hit the fan, folks, in the United States of America. Once the most moral, decent, outstanding, upstanding, shining light on a hill, the city, the country, the nation of people who are decent and good and love the world and well, help kick the shit out of Nazis and commies, right? All of a sudden in that country, well, all of a sudden over a couple decades, but here we are. So loathsome a nation that other nations are leaving it behind, abandoning our currency. And we make banana republics look good. So if someone says, yeah, you can't say that about Hunter Biden, I'm not saying it about Hunter Biden. I said, what if, right? If it's been done, it could come up. Crazy stuff. Anyways, number one, thank you, Orlando. Right? Thank you, right, for getting me continue going there. Continue, right? Oh, you don't get to do that, computer. It's not just America, though, folks. It's not just America. I want to take you over to Europe, where they have similar problems. German politicians, folks, politicians in Germany, they now want to ban, they now want to eliminate, they want to get rid of, they want to make it illegal to belong to the populist party, a popular party, a party the people of Germany like, called AfD, which all it stands for is Alternative for Deutschland, right? Alternative for Germany, an alternative political, and they're right wing. No. They want law and order, justice. They want the adherence to rules. They want the German nation respected, not made secondary to United Nations or European Union or the World Economic Forum. So the other political parties are trying to make it illegal. They want to ban it. Ban it. They want to ban the AfD party. They want to ban it. The largest opposition party to the AfD are saying that the AfD is a, quote, threat to democracy. And you have to ask yourself, have we heard that before? It comes out of, well, that's right, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi. It comes from Hillary Clinton. It comes from Obama. It comes from the mainstream media. It comes from their pundits that being a Republican, Trump, being a conservative, being a libertarian is a threat to democracy. They even say that free speech alone is a threat to democracy. So you make a political party unlawful to participate in. Well, that's interesting, right? This is gaslighting lunacy to say that, well, free speech, talking about political topics is a threat to democracy. Yeah, we hear that all the time in America now. And it's going big time in Europe, folks. Imagine the principle, the democratic principle, not the political party democratic, but the idea that the people have a say in their government. So it's not a democratic rule. It's not mob rule democracy. It's a democratic principle. Voting. The democratic principle of voting allows for opposition parties to speak. And so those who are opposed to free speech say it's threatened because of free speech. And that is gaslighting, folks. Lying to the world and saying free speech is bad. You only get to hear my free speech. Right? Those in power are free to say what they want. They've got free speech, but if you oppose them, anything that's said is a threat to democracy, but it is a democratic principle itself that free speech should exist so that people can, well, govern themselves. Unfreaking believable, folks. People are going to look back at history and go, why was everyone opposed to Stalin in communist Russia and Mao in communist China and Hitler in socialist Germany? Why was everyone opposed to those? Because what came after in the 2020s was far worse. Unbelievable. Let's do this. Let's step on it. Let's get into it. The inner circle. If you've got questions, comments, let's see where we're at. Jolene, Uman, who wants to be next? Who has a thought that they want to share? It is Jane Dixon. Jane, thank you for the great support. And she writes, I foresee gas shortages in mid-July, food shortages by August, dehydrating meats every day. Jane, it sounds like you're prepping, which is a good idea, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. And your plan right now, you're thinking, okay, I foresee problems because today we have problems. I foresee problems getting worse because I've been watching and things are getting worse. That's brilliant. It's smart. It's intelligent. And folks, guess what? That's how people used to live in the old days. They didn't count on being able to go down to the store and get fresh zucchinis and avocados every single day, any time of day, 24/7, even have someone deliver it to your house for a few bucks. Nobody in the past had that luxury because it's not the easiest way to maintain a civilization. It used to be you would get food and you would can it. You would prepare it. You would dry it. You would preserve it in one form, fashion, or another. Dehydrating is a great example of it. People would do that with meats. They would do it with vegetables. They would do it with dry goods like rice, pastas, potatoes, right? All of these things. I foresee big problems. Gas shortages, it's very possible. How do we know that? Because America's former ally that now disrespects America because of Joe Biden has decided to cut fuel production. And then they decided again, they're going to cut fuel production or oil production, raw crude oil. And they're going to sell what they have to their primary allies first. So who has been working with Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, the Middle East? Well, it's been the Chinese. It's been Russia working with them on other things as well, providing protection. Years ago, I was complaining about all the weapons that the American or United States government was providing through sales to the Middle East so they could use it in their own little private, dirty, smelly, stinky, murderous wars that the mainstream media wouldn't touch. I complained about that, but now they don't even want to buy it from America. They would rather buy it from Russia or China, who have hypersonic missile systems. I think this whole potential jade helm, so invisible that you can't even see it. Like that was part of jade helm, was to be invisible, transparent, not there, whatever. It was going to have people in areas, sly dogs, if you will, committing sly acts. Well, I can just foresee it all coming. So yeah, with the reductions in oil, I could see gas shortages. And with the other games being played, I could see food shortages. That's why we need, and I recommend a minimum of 3 months of food, but it could end up being 6 months would be rather useful. If it starts, folks, if we see gas shortages and skyrocketing prices, if you see food shortages and skyrocketing prices, once that phase starts in SHTF, I have a feeling it will persist, continue, and aggravate all of the other problems we have. I don't guarantee that. I can't guarantee it. I know that the government can say, hey, we've got way too many problems out here. Let's pull back on our plans. We don't want to burn the whole country to the ground. At the same time, someone like Joe Biden and his ilk and his allies might say, hey, they're catching on to our shit too much. Let's cause them to burn it down. Let's distract them, in other words. Crazy stuff. Thank you, Jane, very, very much. Very much. I want to get back, folks, on our domestic enemies. Right? We have seen from these radical leftists, whether it's BLM or LGB, whether it's Antifa or whether it's the Southern Poverty Law Center or the ACLU, up and down the line, and their supporters like Soros. Was George Soros, now it's his son Alexander. Other foreigners interfering in our country. Well, in Tennessee, folks, Republican lawmakers are now receiving threatening letters. They're receiving white powder. I think it was in Kentucky, was it not? Or was it Missouri? Or was it another Republican state? Wasn't it some judges like Supreme Court Judge Justice Clarence Thomas? Wasn't it Trump? Wasn't it others? Yeah, it's all of them, folks. They're all starting to receive terror threats. Folks, spreading terror and perversion seems to be what the left is good at. Are they not proving that to us? Proving it every day. Folks, the Tennessee lawmakers, what have they done lately? They've pissed off the liberal activists. I call them terrorists. What is the Tennessee Republican organization, government, if you will? What are they doing? Well, they're banning, seeking to ban, making illegal various aspects of the left-wing lunatic, far left perverted base, right? Giving children gender castrating drugs, mind-bending, shall we say, neurochemical compounds, right? Gaslighting children, convincing them that what they see as reality isn't real. They're trying to stop that. Good. I'm glad lawmakers in various states are doing that, and they should be. Like I asked earlier, isn't it the responsibility of parents and government to protect the most innocent amongst us from harm, keep harm at a distance? Yeah. So government's doing its job here. It is. But let me give you an example of what's going on in California, though, folks. There, the Democrats are doing what? They want to pass legislation, and they probably can because they own California. They own the Assembly, they own the Senate, they own the governor's office. They want to give therapists unconditional, unlimited power to remove children as low as 12 years old from their parents' control. Giving therapists, doctors. I was shocked to learn that therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, physicians, nurses assistants or nurse practitioners, physicians assistants, that they have the authority to start prescribing and treating children for gender dysphoria by destroying their genders, destroying their genitals. All comes from the same word, folks. But some states want to stop it, and they're getting terrorist threats. California wants to give more power to those around us, like doctors, shrinks, psychologists. They're gods. They're allowed to take from a parent their child and say, we're going to do this to them, and we're going to do it. We're going to put your kid over here with us, and you're bad. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. Lawfare is awful. It is ugly. And since I went through one of those things called a divorce, I saw what attorneys are willing to do to other people to win their side. I've seen what these activists, folks, are willing to do to win a fight. They're willing to lie, cheat, steal, burn, loot, murder. There is no stopping them unless they are stopped. Period. Period. All right. Let's do this. Let's go back with one of your questions, folks. Mikey G says, imploded sub made a dandy diversion. How convenient as Hunter walks. Yeah, it was a Jim dandy. One heck of a diversion, was it not? Oh, the amount of memes that came out were hilarious. What was interesting to me is the amount of information I have really doesn't amount to a square piss, right? Not square piss, squirt of piss. Okay, so there's a submarine out there full of rich bastards who wanted to go to the Titanic. Submarine failed. It took them a while to figure it out. They died. The government, the military lied about it. They knew about it days ago. Okay, big deal. The rich people died. The government knew. The government lied, pretended they didn't know. So what? The submarine was built by a bunch of incompetent woke tards. Okay, I'm over it. The memes, well, they're definitely funny and worth looking at because they make fun of those idiots. But it's distracted Mikey G. At the same time, you and I, all of us, knowing it's a distraction, have been able to go, oh, interesting piece of information. Thank you so much. Off my plate. I want to look at some other shit. That's where these diversions are failing now. They're failing, right? You want to bring up some more Bud Light bullshit? Okay, great. Nice work, Bud Light. Idiots off to the side. I want to keep focusing on everything else out there. I mean, get this. You want a fucking diversion, Mikey G? Listen to this. Democrats in Texas are accusing the Trump train, people involved in the Trump train, Trump himself, any Republican in the state of Texas, everyone is being accused of violating the Ku Klux Klan Act. I didn't even know there was a Ku Klux Klan Act, folks. You know, I'm very careful never to pull a white t-shirt over my head and take too much time doing it because somebody might get scared, right? In fact, I don't own any white t-shirts. In fact, I don't own any white pillowcases because heaven forbid if I stuck my head in my pillow, someone might scream I'm a Klansman. Sheesh. Anyways, here's the deal, right? What a great way to excite people and distract them than to say Trump train is full of Klansmen and they're trying, you know, and this actually they're pointing back to the 2020 campaign season. That's what this lawsuit is about. They're trying to scare people and get us riled up and excited about, well, these Trumpsters are a bunch of Klansmen. They violated the Ku Klux Klan Act. Right? In other words, these Trump supporters have committed acts of terror. Now, remember, an act of terror is trying to use, threats of force or using force to intimidate other people, to force, change, direct their political thinking, right? Using threats of force or using force to get people to change their political thinking, their actions, their course of action. That's what terrorism is, because that's what terrorism does. So I want to give everyone a point of reference regarding the Ku Klux Klan. Hillary's good buddy, Hillary Clinton, her good buddy, lifelong Democrat, lifelong senator, lifelong Democrat from West Virginia? Byrd. That's right, folks, Senator Byrd. Hillary's good buddy that she hugged and kissed and loved on. Senator Byrd was the grand high dragon for the Ku Klux Klan. And Senator Byrd was honored throughout his career in the Senate, never challenged on his membership and serving as the grand high dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. Not then, folks. He was honored by all Democrats, including Hillary herself and many of the other Democrats. He still to this day, folks, has not been condemned or eschewed by any Democrats for his service to a racist organization like the Ku Klux Klan. His service as Grand High Dragon. Yet they want to ignore all that and point to you as a distraction. Just to give you an example of how they'll use a distraction. Trump was involved. His Trump train was violated the Ku Klux Klan Act, and they've started a legal case. Now, you might remember a little bit of this. A little bit about this. Remember back during that 2020 campaign season, when the Trump train got out there and followed the Biden and Harris bus around. Remember that? They followed the Biden-Harris bus around. And then one of the people that was in the Biden cavalcade, if you want to call it that, the 2 or 3 chase vehicles that people weren't allowed on, right? They slammed into some of the Trump trainers, literally used their vehicles to attack others because they felt threatened. Oh, give me a fucking break, right? Oh, well, that was my response, right? Point of reference. Distractions, to answer Mikey G's thing. Get your questions down below. Get your statements, comments, thought. This whole week has been a freaking shit show. What do you want to talk about? I've got some more stuff that I want to talk about, folks. And get this, right? I have told you guys, and I'm sure you agree with me, that Republican Speaker of the House, who is a stinky, smelly, chicken shit rhino Republican, Kevin McCarthy, he says this, quote, "Now is not the time to talk impeaching Biden." He's not going to pursue the impeachment. We've now had at least 3 congressmen introduce articles of impeachment against the president of the United States, filthy Joe Biden. Well, if now is not the time to talk, when is the time, a-hole? How bad does it have to get before it is finally the time? This is what kills me about these idiots. It's absolutely frosts me. If not now, when? If it's not enough, how much will it take? How much is it going to take, right? Shouldn't there be more pressure from the conservative, moral, decent humans in this country? Enough to cause the leader in the Republican House of Representatives. It's run by Republicans. I knew, you knew, we all knew McCarthy was going to bend and he was going to snap under pressure, that he's a sellout, that he's a wimp. We all know it. And he's proven it yet again. Now's not the time. Then when is, jackass? When is the time to talk about impeaching Biden, if not now? If not now, folks. Now is, right? Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of humor as we get into this this day. We finish up this week. Oh, yes. Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. I hope that you guys can be there. I'm inviting you to be there for Sunday Night Live, the zoo, where we mix the preparedmind.club. We mix YouTube and we mix Subscribestar all together. We all get together. So Sunday Night Live, I am going to be here. Brand new bottle of scotch. It is brim level, full to the brim. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some shit because this weekend, I think we're going to have some big things happen. Perhaps, Mikey G, we're going to have some more distractions. Perhaps, Orlando, we're going to have some more military training exercises to talk about. Because when people are at work all week long, they may not get to see those helicopters and Osprey and fast movers streaking over their skies. But on weekends, people have time to pay attention, do they not? So anyways, let's get to some humor, folks. A study came out. A study, right? When a college or a think tank or a corporation or a school wants to come out and study something, they come up with results. Now, one time they did a study and it said more than 3 climatologists think that there's climate change happening. And then someone said, 3, that sounds like a consensus. It must be happening. Yeah, that was not a good study. And it still has been proven to be wrong. From Al Gore to Greta the Climate Grinch, that study has been a complete failure. Proven. Now I want to ask you if you agree with this study, right? There's a study that found that attractive women are more likely to be right-wing, while women who show more contempt tend to be left-wing, right? So my response to that is, you know what? I've met some attractive left-wingers, and some of Hollywood's women. They're attractive, right? That's why they're actresses, but they're left-wing. But by and large, right? Interesting, right? That you see scowling, contemptuous, sourpusses, right? Those are left-wing women, and I think that attractive women smile. They have a pleasantness about them that men detect and find attractive, that other women detect and find attractive, versus the scowling, nasty, and forgive me, Vaughn, Karens out there, right? And so I want to remind everyone that beauty is skin deep, but demo pervs are ugly to the bone, are they not? I mean, do yourself a favor and don't go do what I'm going to recommend, but you may want to do what I'm going to recommend. And that is watch some video footage of abortion protests and LGBTQ rallies and protests, and see what the left-wing people look like. Just, I won't say any more than that. Just look at them and tell me if they look attractive or ugly. Ask yourself, does this person make me feel good about looking at them? Or, right, do I feel like I need to run away the other direction? I think it's a fair question to ask after this frickin' week we've been through. Yikes. Ooh, man, Jolene sending the big question mark to you. Okay, thanks, Jolene. Very good. Let's do this. Every now and then we do this. And Fridays are very special days. I'll just come over and look at one of my news pages and go, I wonder what they're talking about. I wonder what has changed since I started the show even. Because, again, this person asked last week, and I thought it was a great question, and I've used it all week long. Does this show talk about the same thing every day? Or does shit change? New shit happen, stuff we need to be aware of, things we need to share, right? Stuff that others would find interesting and don't know about because they're ignorant. Let's do it. They're continuing, folks, at the White House to ignore questions about Hunter and Joe, bribery, communists. They're continuing. John Kirby, who is the other mouthpiece when Jean-Pierre Kierine, or whatever the hell her name is, Jean-Karine Pierre, Karine Jean-Pierre. All her names are screwy as far as I'm concerned. If she can't handle the microphone, John Kirby will get up and he'll lie like the best of them. But he walked off now, folks. Biden is walking off. Karine Jean-Pierre is walking off. John Kirby now walks off because a reporter asked about James Rosen. He asked about James Rosen. Now the media is asking, they're naming a name and his association with Hunter Biden and the texting to communist Chinese business associates and their schemes, their business schemes, right? Very interesting stuff, right? Oh, there's nothing wrong with Hunter, man. So, get this. And this came up just since, folks, I sat down to talk with you guys. Hot off the presses, right? Hunter Biden, drug user, cocaine, crack pipes, weed, measuring drugs on a scale, all caught on video. Not to mention all the whistleblowers and other associates who talk about what a scumbag he is. Pictures with minors, sex trafficking allegations, international investigations into Hunter Biden, Joe Biden covering, Joe Biden threatening, Joe Biden withholding funds to make sure Hunter skates. If there's one thing Joe Biden is that nobody can deny, it's he's loyal to his son to a criminal degree. I mean, he has no problem lying about Hunter and covering for Hunter and saying he's the smartest guy I know. That coming from an idiot, that's not saying much. Anyways, is Hunter a criminal? throwing away a gun. What, he knocked up some stripper and then doesn't want to pay child support. Sleeps with his brother's wife after the brother kicks the bucket. I mean, what kind of guy is this Hunter Biden guy? Sounds like someone I want to invite for dinner tomorrow night. Yeah, I'd love to have Hunter over for a barbecue. I get out some Spam steaks and I'll put them on the grill, and me and Hunter can just sit back and drink a beer and smoke some crack and snort a few lines, right? No, I don't think so, folks. Anyways, now a sex club founder. I have no idea that there are sex clubs out there. I guess there's sex clubs. They're like a bar is a club and a dance hall is a club. Those are clubs. Okay, so there's sex clubs. Well, I guess I've lived a sheltered life while I've been working and paying my fucking taxes and being a normal human. Anyways, sex club founder has come out, and this is how he describes Hunter Biden. Scumbag. So even amongst people who go to sex clubs, Hunter's a scumbag. And this guy says he had to expel Hunter. He didn't have an investigation. He didn't need it. He didn't have a committee. He didn't need it. He didn't need to have an impeachment hearing. No, he just expelled Hunter after one attendance at a party. I've got to wonder, what was Hunter doing at a sex party with a bunch of sex-crazed, perverted lunatics that they're like, dude, you're out of here. I can't imagine, folks, what he was doing. I can't. So not only, I don't want to leave Karine Jean-Pierre out, folks. So John Kirby won't answer the fucking question. Jean-Pierre, Karine, little Karine, she wouldn't answer either, right? She wanted to argue. Reporters, folks, kept asking her about the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden tag team text messaging demanding that the communist Chinese business people pay up. Pay the bill, pay them off. How is this not a fucking crime? Whether it was done while Joe's in office or while he wasn't in office. Demanding a payoff, a payback, unbelievable. It's unconscionable. Just unbelievable, folks. That, just since we started talking, right? Unbelievable. Here, let's keep going, right? Never mind. I'm not even going to go there with these pride flag cupcakes that the White House put out for the reporters. I guess if you lick a pride flag cupcake or bite one, you're gay. They're throwing it in their faces, folks. They're throwing it in everyone's faces. They're not giving up. They're not quitting. They're not going away. It's going to continue. It really is. Let's do this, right? Fuck, what else we want to talk about? Ooh, man, what is on your mind? I can't remember if I talked about a topic that we want to talk about or if we covered it all. Did I cover it all? I don't want to go away on Friday without covering everything so I can sleep tonight and I can relax for a few minutes, right? Get zero sleep all week, it seems like. Okay. I didn't want to end on kind of an ugly story, but I think it's important that we all go into this weekend and also reflect on how awful the United States government, the Washington, D.C. government is. We all know that we're Americans. We love our country. We believe in the best of other people in our country. We protect against the worst, but we believe we can accomplish the best. That our government, that we can hold accountable. We want to believe that. And on the local level, we're better at it than on the state or especially the federal level. Washington, D.C. is its own separate, distinct jurisdiction. Right? That's where the Declaration of Independence is kept. That's where the Constitution is stored. Yet the Declaration and the Constitution do not matter. They're not law. They're not enforceable because they claim exclusive jurisdiction through Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution. That they're not subject to, in other words, that they, Washington, D.C., are not subject to constitutional limitations, restrictions, rules, and regulations. That they are their own little country. Now, 30 years ago when I learned that, which is a fact, of course, I didn't think they would ever have the guts to do what they've done. But the January 6th prisoners, folks, they're still there. They're still being punished. They're still being hurt. Many have gone off to other prisons. Many are still being held. Many have been set free. But they're still there. And we have one prisoner. His name is Rodney Mistreed. Rodney Mistreed. His story came up on Gateway Pundit. And if you go read it, you'll be shocked. You can read his story on Gateway Pundit and you can be shocked. But he tells his story, folks, and different news outlets cover what these people release has been done to them while inside Washington, D.C.'s federal penitentiary system, right inside the gulag, right? He said he had feces, crap, and urine tossed into his cell through the food slot done by, other prisoners. That the prison guards themselves are participating in this torture, not the psychological torture. He was considered a serious threat. So he was held in solitary confinement, what's known as the hole, for I think 96 days, folks. 96 days, folks, is more than 3 months. I thought that Marine Corps boot camp, which is over 3 months, was difficult to do. And that was, folks, dealing with other people in my situation, right? Understanding no one was going to actually kill me in boot camp, right? Having other people observing and making sure everything was fine. Imagine being locked in a cell. No other human contact, except to have crap and piss shoved through the slot at you, to hear people laughing at you, but no communication. It's torture. It's psychological torture. The guy became suicidal. Rodney Mistreed. Right? And who was this guy? He's a blue-collar worker, a machinist, who worked his way through life, age 56 now. Right? Just wanted to support his political belief system by going to Washington and letting the people there know that they needed to stand for what's right. That there was an issue with the election, that it needed to be examined and taken care of in a legal, lawful manner. He didn't go there for an insurrection, but he's been treated, Rodney Mistreed, as if he was part of a violent political insurrection or coup d'etat. You're not going to take over any country, much less the United States, with 100 people, disarmed, unarmed, standing around waving flags. They may not be saying the nicest things. They may be angry about the situation, but they're not there trying to take over a building full of, political miscreants. Yeah, denied food, tortured. It's just one more story, folks, about what could happen to you or me. Me too, you, me, at any point. He talked about how he was arrested, folks. And I'll conclude with this. He was ambushed. He was ambushed by the FBI, who used a flashbang grenade on him to disorient and scare the shit out of him. And they took, he said, glee in it. They were excited and laughed about the fact that they stunned this guy, that they scared the shit out of him, possibly even giving him a heart attack. That's what they wanted to do. And they have arrested him and just started abusing him. Can you imagine walking down the street, walking out of your house and having a flashbang, a grenade blow up in your presence? He thought he was shot, that someone had shot him. He hadn't done anything wrong, folks. Just a normal human being, a normal American. And the government wants to make a political example out of him. Rodney mistreated. It could happen to you or me. That's why I've told you, I don't think I'm going to allow myself to be arrested, because I don't feel like being abused, killed. I don't want to feel like having one of my eyes punched out of my head or my jaw broken. I don't feel like having my sphincter violated. I don't feel like having my ribs broken or fed shit for dinner. I don't think I want to be psychologically tortured to the point where suicide becomes a better option. I don't think I want to have to live in a putrid, fetid sewer water in, submerged cell, sleeping on a piece of metal. I don't want to be fed bugs and some sort of biosludge the government now calls food. I don't think I want to be accused of crimes I haven't been committed, that I have not done, that I haven't planned, that I haven't wanted to do. I don't want to be accused of that and then have that used as an excuse for the government to abuse me, and then to use the mainstream media to continue to accuse and abuse me in any form or fashion that the government sees fit, so they can heap crap on my head. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong, period. The founding fathers of this nation, you bet they committed criminal acts. Throwing that tea into Boston Harbor was a crime. It was also a protest. It was also a political protest. It was also a political protest against a tyrant and his bureaucracy and his administration. So do I condone and recommend and suggest committing crimes? No. But without the Boston Tea Party, we may not have had our American Revolution. The founding fathers, by today's legal standards, they're called terrorists because they fought against the establishment, those in power who claimed that they had rightful authority. And those terrorists, American revolutionaries from 1776 and on, fought. They committed egregious violent acts against the British military. The British military could call them terrorists, renegades, insurrectionists. They could call them murderers. But to us, they're founding fathers, they're patriots, they're lovers of freedom and liberty, and they're not cowards. They were patriots. Do I recommend people go out and duplicate what they did? No, I can't do that. I can't recommend people go out and commit acts of violence and suggest that harmful and dangerous behavior is good. I can't do that. But if you look back at history, in order to make America the free, great place it was, that had to happen. Those scumbags in the government, the powers that be at that time, needed to be opposed, and it took acts of violence to make it happen. You figure out what needs to happen, folks. In the meantime, let's try not to get arrested. Let's try not to get kicked in the teeth. Let's try not to be screwed over. Let's try not to fall for government tricks. Let's try not to succumb to propaganda. And let's do things that are legal and lawful, like oppose politically, use free speech, make sure we secure our Second Amendment rights, as well as our Fourth and Fifth Amendment. Let's try and avoid, shall we say, cruel and unusual punishment from the government. Let's stick up for each other. Let's look out for freedom and liberty. And make sure you're prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense. Understand the government in Washington, D.C. is not acting like our friend. No, sir-ree, Bob. Get prepared. Semper Fi, Godspeed. Thank you, Mr. Ooman. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you to all of you for the great support, for the super chat donations, for the, I hate to say PayPal, folks, but yeah, they're still there. PayPal donations, Venmo, and Cash App. Thank you guys for keeping us afloat by supporting us on Subscribestar and for supporting us on the thepreparedmind.club. And the thepreparedmind.club is where you go to get the goodies you need to get prepared, to get them. So I didn't have the scroll running today. Nope, I didn't. But hey, such is life, right? Such is life. Let's do this. I'm going to check out. I'll see you guys Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific.